Hello. Well, normally I plan what I'm going to talk about in my videos. I often do bullet points and things like that, but usually I sort of know more or less a general structure. But this is so funny. I just had to record it straight away. And it's this from The Guardian. So here we are. All right. Journalists in Downing Street walk out after Johnson aide tries to exclude some reporters. Political journalists boycotted a Downing Street briefing on Monday after one of Boris Johnson's aides banned selected reporters from attending. The Guardian is very strong on reporting the truth and reporters' rights. And is there something wrong with the angle of this camera? Right, that's it. And they're real fighters for the freedom of the press, aren't they? The confrontation took place inside Number 10 after Lee Kane, Johnson's most senior communications advisor, so we assume he did it with official sanction, tried to exclude reporters from The Mirror, that's a left-wing paper, the HuffPost, I think that's the Independent online edition, HuffPost, Politics Home, that's not left-wing, is it? I don't know that one. The Independent and others, and they don't say who the others are, which is a shame, from an official government briefing. At a time of escalating tensions between Downing Street and the media, Labour accused Johnson of deploying Donald Trump-like tactics to avoid scrutiny. So, Labour are in on the act as well. Now, in a situation of supreme irony, this is where it all started. The incident happened in the foyer of Number 10 when journalists on the invited list were asked to stand on one side of a rug while those not allowed in were asked by security to stand on the other side. Now, I'm sure that these journalists were filled with outrage about not being able to report on a government meeting of some sort, about being excluded, about not being able to get into print because they are being prevented from reporting. Like Tommy Robinson. Where were all these guys when Tommy Robinson was having exactly the same things done to him? He was arrested, by the way. At least they were just chucked out. Where were all these outraged freedom of the pressers saying, well, we might not like what you're saying, but you are reporting something and have a right to do so? Where were all these warriors for truth, freedom, and the British way? Where were they all? Well, where they are is standing on the wrong side of the carpet. And you know what? They deserve to be there. The other ones deserve to be there as well, but, the message will get through. When you don't stand up for one journalist, all of them go. And you can write opinion pieces in The Guardian about how outraged you are, about what X or Y says about immigrants or Muslims or whatever. You can be as outraged as you want, but if you don't fight for that person's right to say what they're saying, then this is what happens, because there is a precedent now. You fools, you idiots, you people who think you're so intellectually superior that you can make disparaging comments about working class people in Wolverhampton, but you weren't intelligent enough to see that this is where Tommy Robinson's arrest leads to. That once the government knows it can silence one person, it will not be able to resist the temptation to silence the others because it doesn't like them. You didn't like Tommy Robinson, and so you stood by. Yes, I saw a sign some journalist held up, first they came for the journalist. Yet they'd already come. And you were part of the mob egging them on. You idiots, you superior, Oxford-educated fools. That's what you are. The briefing was due to be given by government officials who are meant to be politically neutral, but did not happen because of the walkout. The tactics from Number 10 echo those of Trump in the US, who has been known to try to exclude journalists from reporting on his activities and represents an escalation of Johnson's tensions with the media, which have been increasing in recent weeks. Tommy Robinson has quite a following. I'm not so sure he's inclined to make a fuss on your behalf, but he could do. He could have done. But he was in jail, wasn't he? And you peddle lies about Tommy Robinson. You peddle lies about Trump too, to a certain extent. Johnson is right. You say things about Trump. You say things about Johnson, or half-truths, or things that don't really, like far-right Tommy Robinson. You just stick these instant disqualifiers before people's names. Well, what we'd say about you, far-left Daily Mirror. Let's dismiss it. The fascist Daily Mirror. Let's just dismiss everything that a Daily Mirror reporter or journalist has to say. You don't seem to realise when you lie about one thing, nobody's going to trust you about something else. You don't seem to realise that when you fail to protect one journalist, you're next in the line. I spent a lot of my time, a lot of my life in university. In universities of various sorts. And I have heard the most appalling nonsense emanating from the mouths of people who have enough letters after their name that you could play a game of Scrabble with them, and still, they're idiots. Yeah, they may be very good at, assessing this or analysing that, but they don't know anything about the world. And I want to tell everybody there's such a thing as intelligence that gets qualifications, and there's such a thing as intelligence that enables you to negotiate the world. And they are two different things. I know mathematicians who'd get lost going round a racetrack. Ministers have also been told not to have lunch with political journalists. That's very good. I did a video in which I told you about Labour ministers a Labour minister in particular, who was invited regularly for lunch at the Czech embassy. And he spilt a lot of beans there, probably under the influence of a little bit too much vodka. And it was briefed at the weekend that Dominic Cummings, Johnson's senior advisor, had established a network of spies to find out whether other special advisors were fraternising with the media. This is all very good stuff because Johnson knows from what happened over the Brexit stuff going on in Parliament that he can't trust people. He can't trust loyalty anymore. And again, that was something all those intelligent people in Parliament didn't think of when they acted disloyally. Broadcasters have also been unhappy that the Prime Minister's Brexit Day address to the nation was filmed by Downing Street rather than a crew from a TV network, as would usually be the case. You see, mainstream media, you are losing your grip in all senses of the word. People don't believe you anymore. You pump half-truths into the ether. People don't like that. You think that working class people in Yorkshire are fools and need spoon-feeding your enlightened political opinions. They don't. They're living their lives. Those people in Hull who can't fish anymore and are living on the dole or have been on the dole for the past 2 generations, they know. They get it. And they don't need your advice. Some of Johnson's recent hires as special advisors include those with specialisms, specialities. Oh, that's so bloody Guardian. Specialities in film production and photography. Good. Johnson really does understand the media world. The media world of today, not the one of yesterday. The people here in The Guardian are still in, prompting speculation that he is increasingly intending to bypass the media. Yeah, well, look, that's what us all here on YouTube are doing. You, the watchers, and me, what YouTube is pleased to call a creator. We are bypassing the media. When I was working for the BBC, I put in dozens of scripts, ideas, all those sorts of things, and they were systematically rejected. Not all of them. I wish I could have bypassed the media then. Well, I'm bypassing it now. Hi there, BBC. Do you know, once, and this is where the BBC, I could tell you about this, ageist and sexist. When I was working for the BBC, they wanted to get rid of me because I didn't have their left opinions. I once went into a producer's office and he was looking at my scripts, which I was submitting for that week. Now, he was obviously a good friend of the executive producer. And that executive producer did not like me at all because I told her off about a couple of biased things. You might say I shouldn't have said that sort of thing, but I did. Now, I walked in there and he took the pile of scripts. He hadn't read any of them and he just took them one by one and there was a bin next to him and he went, boring, badly written, boring, 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 all just landing in the thing. Now, you think that wasn't calculated to get rid of me? I thought, sod you, I'm not going until you actually make it clear. I'm not just walking out of here. But I was told to my face, women aren't funny. Middle-aged women are even less funny. That's what they said. This is the BBC. This is those people who are now in higher positions in the BBC, still with those minds, with those heads on their shoulders, and those minds and those opinions. Now they're getting their comeuppance. And boy, oh boy, does this make me feel good. So where are we? There have also been signs that Number 10 is trying to shake up its relations with political journalists who are collectively known as the lobby. Political journalists have already complained about Number 10 changing the location of its daily briefings. What? You're not in the nice place with the sandwiches. With the Prime Minister's official spokesman from a room in Parliament to Downing Street, meaning they are now held on government territory. Oh yes, very unsettling. Like you've got the stormtroopers with the with the machine guns and whatever on either side of you, so you can't ask questions. The banned journalists who tried to attend the briefing had passed through Downing Street's security scanners, shown their parliamentary passes, and knocked on the door to gain entry. All the invited journalists were political editors rather than Brexit specialists. What is a Brexit specialist? I'd like to ask. Labour, because of course this is all papers supported by Labour, said the move by Johnson's team showed the Prime Minister was resorting to tactics imported from Donald Trump to hide from scrutiny. No, it's not to hide from scrutiny. It's because he doesn't like you. And he doesn't like you because you're a bunch of arses. Now, look, you are reporters. You have every right to report. So go and report. You can find this stuff out anyway. You don't have to be there. And defend your fellow reporters wherever they are and whoever they are. You are just getting your comeuppance. It's karma. You left Tommy Robinson out in the cold. Now that's where you are. You don't like it, do you? Well, just be thankful of one thing. You're not in jail. You're not starving in a solitary cell with other prisoners shoving feces through the window. It could be worse, couldn't it? So suck it up and start becoming real reporters. Thank you very much. If you want to donate or contact, the information will be rolling over the Graniopteryx as I speak. Please like, subscribe and share because it does help with the algorithm. If you visit my channel on YouTube and one day discover that I've disappeared without warning, you'll still find me on BitChute or Minds. Just go to either of those platforms and do a search for Graniopteryx. If you're already watching this on BitChute or Minds, good for you. Meanwhile, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember that you must keep checking the subscribe and bell icons because occasionally they reset. Till next time.